Just trying to survive and learn to love along the way by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 52, Chapter 52 of Tears and a Stressful Encounter. Shouta texts Hizashi's response on the short drive over. Sho, you would have loved it. All Zuko did was hug him, and he got so red. Then Izu made it worse by worrying about him being so red, so he made a lame excuse and left. Shouta huffed out a laugh as he types his response, and resolutely ignores Sukelchi's look from beside him. It's only a few more minutes of silence before they're pulling up in front of the modest house. There's a singular car in the driveway, and Shouta is grateful that there seems to be someone home. The trip would be completely useless if Kirishima's mother wasn't there. It's his student who answers the door, a sweater covering most of his bandages. He looks exhausted from his hospital stay. He gives them a questioning look when he recognizes them, but he opens the door further and steps back to allow them in. Aizawa-sensei, what's going on? Is your mother home? Shouta steps inside as he speaks, and Sukelchi closes the door behind them. My mom's just in the kitchen. Kirishima gestures vaguely behind him. Shouta just looks at him until he gets the point. Oh, right. It's this way. He leads them down the hall and disappears through a door on the left. They enter the kitchen and find Kirishima speaking quietly to the woman who must be his mother. She's tall and doesn't bear many similarities to his student, other than the dark hair Shouta knows he was born with. Ah, you must be Eraserhead. What can I do for you? She gives him a friendly smile, revealing sharp-pointed teeth. I've come to notify you on the future of UA. Her smile falls, and she gives her son a sad look. Well, you just discussed that. Is it alright if I speak to your son? I still need the statement on the event of the training camp. Sukelchi pipes in, and Kirishima's mother turns her gaze to him. And who are you? Oh, forgive my rudeness. I'm Detective Sukelchi, and I'm in charge of the investigation. She crosses her arms as she takes in Sukelchi, before her gaze once again settles on his face. I'd rather you don't, Detective. At least not without me there. I need to... No! Everyone turns to his student at the outburst. Excuse me? His mother looks more surprised than angry at the interruption. I want to talk to the detective without you. Kirishima's voice is quiet as he averts his eyes. And why is that? You know why. Eijirou, honey, you need to tell me what happened. I can't do anything to help if I don't know. Kirishima just shakes his head at her, gaze locked on the floor. There's a silence for a moment before he speaks. Come on, detective, we can speak in the other room. He walks by Shouta without looking his way and grabs Sukelchi's sleeve, dragging him from the kitchen. He refuses to tell me what happened. All I know is what we were told in the official statement. She looks upset as she takes a seat at the counter. Shouta takes the seat on the opposite stool of her, back to the door before he speaks. He'll tell you when he's ready. She looks up at him with a frown. And when will that be? Could be days, weeks, a year. Hell, he may never be ready. How is that supposed to make me feel better? Aren't heroes supposed to be good at comforting people? She stands and starts pacing. Shouta follows the motion lazily with his eyes. I'm not much of a people person, so I leave all of that to my partner. She stops walking and raises her brow at him, but doesn't comment on the matter. Now, what did you have to tell me about UA? Shouta reaches into his pocket and pulls out a copy of all the new security measures, hands it over before taking a deep breath and speaking. UA is constructing dorms for the safety of our students. Unfortunately, once the students are there, they won't be permitted to leave, so having your son home won't be an option. This will be in effect for the foreseeable future. So, Kirishima's mom holds up a hand to stop him. I'm gonna stop you right there. None of this will be a problem, considering I'm probably pulling him from the course. That is not good at all. Kirishima is extremely promising student, and Shouta can tell from simply looking at him how badly he wants to be a hero. What? It's hardly a whisper, but in the silence after Kirishima's mother's statement, The explanation is clear as day. Shouta splits his seat to see Kirishima standing near the doorway. He's openly distressed, has tears pooling in his eyes. Shota's gaze is drawn to where Kirishima is tugging forcefully on the bandages of his hand and the sleeves of his sweater. The action is familiar. He catches Izuku doing similar things when he knows his son is feeling especially anxious. He wants to reach out and stop the motion, but he knows it's not his place. Sweetheart, I was going to talk to you about it. Shouta turns back and finds the woman openly crying. This is too many tears for Shouta. He hates being caught up in something so personal. She begins stepping around the counter, reaching for her son, but his student backs away. He steps right into Sakalchi, who now stands in the doorway. He was probably wondering what was taking so long. Were you waiting until you already took me out? Shouta sucks in a breath at the suggestion. Eijirou, you know I just want to keep you safe. Kirishima's mother practically confirms it. Stop treating me like a little kid! You can't just decide my future for me! He turns and pushes his way past Sakalchi. Everyone flinches when the front door slams. Kirishima's mother wipes away her tears as Sakalchi pulls up a stool next to Shouta. Sorry about him. He's a very emotional child. She gives him a weak smile that isn't a smile at all. It's more like a grimace. Why don't you want him to be a hero? Sakalchi speaks up before Shouta has the chance to. It's far too dangerous. Eijirou is such a gentle boy. I don't want anything to ruin that. Shouta and Sakalchi share a look before turning back to her. Ma'am, I've been doing hero work for the past 15 years, and my quirk isn't nearly as sturdy as your son's. She gives him a teary eye before speaking. I know that, but I can't lose him too. Shouta watches her patiently, and Sakalchi follows his lead, remaining silent at his side. We lost his father a few years ago. There was a villain attack. It hit him hard. Eijirou and his father were always a lot closer than we were, so I had a lot of trouble helping him. Shouta can see that. He was a lot closer with his father too. He got so depressed that I could hardly get him to eat. I eventually dragged him to a therapist. Now that is a good thing Shouta has a hard time seeing. Kirishima is such a cheerful student, always boosting others and going out of his way to make classmates feel good. Thinking about him in the other position is almost impossible. Eijirou wanted to be a hero before that, but that was the real push that got him into going. My husband wasn't a hero or anything spectacular like that. He was just collateral damage. How can I allow the only thing I have left to go looking for danger? Shouta shuts his eyes as he thinks of what to say. He's really not good at this sort of thing. Hizashi is a sweet talker. Your son is shaping up to be a great hero. His quirk makes it easier for him to protect people. With him out there saving people, there will be less families like yours. Shouta is trying for his sympathetic side, but he can't help one last brutal truth from slipping out. Besides, if you pull him out, you may lose him anyways. Shouta stands and leaves the kitchen, Sakalchi right on his tail. They can hear the woman begin to sob as they exited the house. How far did you get into your interview? Shouta only speaks once they're halfway down the driveway. Absolutely nowhere. He was pulling off saying anything by going to get us some water. Great. Now they need to find his wayward student. Sakalchi actually needs his statement since he encountered one of the villains, and they need to gauge if he's the traitor or not. Shouta doubts that he is, but better safe than sorry. He looks around for a minute, trying to spot the familiar head of red hair. No sign of him. Guess we should look around then. Wanna split up? Sakalchi nods at him before heading down the street. Shouta turns and heads the other direction. He walks slowly, basking in the warmth of the late afternoon sun. He takes his time, making sure to check around every corner and in every alleyway. He's not even sure if his student would wander off this far. He's about to call Sakalchi to see if he has any better luck when his phone rings. Eraserhead. Hey, Eraser, I found the kid. We're a few blocks south of his place. Shouta hangs up and turns around, walking significantly faster than he was before. He gets there in a matter of minutes. Kirishima is sitting on the curb, head buried in his knees. Tsukauchi crouches a few feet away, trying to get the kid to look at him. Shouta walks up and sits next to him on the curb. Kirishima. The student looks up at him. His eyes and face are red from the crying, which gives no indication of stopping. Aizawa-sensei, you can't let her take me out. I'm so happy at UA, and I finally have real friends there. Shouta sighs and scrubs a hand down his face. He's not used to comforting children. He'd only ever comforts Izuku, and half the time he has Hizashi there to back him up. Meanwhile, Tsukauchi doesn't look like he's going to be much of a help. I talked to your mother. I told her some harsh truths, and got her to think about it. I don't know what she'll decide, but I know you have to talk to her and let her know how you feel. He places what he hopes to be a comforting hand on Kirishima's shoulder. Obviously, it helps in some way, because Kirishima turns sideways and throws his arms around Shota's middle. He brings a hand to his student's back and awkwardly holds him, letting him cry into his scarf. He's not sure if it's upset crying or relieved that he said something crying, but he lets Kirishima get it out of his system. God, he's gotten soft. Kirishima pulls away a few minutes later, looking significantly mortified. Sorry, Aizawa-sensei, I didn't mean to cry all over you. He sounds slightly better than he did before. That's fine, Kirishima. His student smiles at him, and Shouta is baffled at his ability to change mood so quickly. Do you think you're up to giving your statement now? I have to get back to the station soon. Tsukauchi is sitting on the ground now, notebook and pen out and ready. Kirishima glances over at Shouta before nodding. Do you want me to leave? I can just read it later. Kirishima turns to him, looking panicked. No, it's fine. You can stay. Oh. Kirishima probably doesn't want to be left alone with a detective he just met. Shouta relaxes in his spot, not looking forward to hearing what his student went through before he rescued them. It's not a nice tale, and Kirishima is all pale and trembling by the time he's done telling them about it. Tsukauchi has a grim look on his face, and Shouta is sure he wears a similar one. I have one last question, Kirishima. How do you think the villains knew where you guys were camped out? His student gives Tsukauchi a confused look before answering. To be completely honest, I didn't even know where we were. Shota's eyebrows go up at that. They were there for several days. How did Kirishima not know their location? His student sees his look and smiles. I was asleep the whole bus ride, sensei, so when I woke up, I had no clue where we were. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone, if that's what you're getting at. Shouta meets Tsukauchi's eyes, and the man smiles, shaking his head lightly. Looks like Shouta was right about this one. How about we walk you home, Kirishima? His student shakes his head. Why not, kid? I'm not ready. I don't know what to say to Mom, and I don't want to face her after running out like that. You think she'll be mad? Tsukauchi pipes in, a concerned frown on his face. No, nothing like that. She'll just be all sad and disappointed. Probably won't leave me alone for a while, so that I don't get all depressed again. Shouta sighed and closed his eyes. He doesn't want to push Kirishima into a situation he's not ready for, but he can't exactly leave him on the side of the road like this. Hizashi would know what to do, what to say to him. Oh, you'll just take him to Hizashi. Do you want to go back to the hospital and see Bakugou? Aren't visiting hours over soon? Might just be a waste of time. Shouta opens his eyes to see the sad smile on Kirishima's face. Nah, I could get you in. Only if you promise to text your mom so she knows where you are. And you have to talk to her tomorrow. Kirishima frowns at him, but nods anyways. His student accepts the hand that Shouta offers to help him up. He stumbles slightly, clearly exhausted, so Shouta stays close by, ready to help him should he need it. They walked a few blocks to the car in silence, and Kirishima slides into the backseat without a word. Shouta makes sure that he texts his mom before they drive off. Halfway through the drive, Shouta looks back and finds him fast asleep, head resting on the window. That much crying can really tire people out, especially if they're already as exhausted as Kirishima looked to be. Shouta is surrounded by problem children. Alright, okay, if you occasionally, throughout the me filming this, heard that, I don't know if you could pick that up. I know it picked it up in one, and I was too lazy to take it out. At least I think it picked it up. I'm not sure. I saw the little thingy looked like it picked it up, but I was too lazy to take it out, and I think it was during a line as well. But if you hear that, just know that it's me spraying water on myself and all over my body because it is hot as balls. It is 111 degrees, and I am not, I repeat, not at all, like, the AC in my room does not work as much as the rest of the house, and because I'm in my room recording, I am just burning. I'm burning. I'm in hell. This is what hell is. This is what hell is. This is what hell is. But, okay, moving on. Very interesting chapter. Honestly, getting into this, I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse. But I hope Kirishima doesn't get pulled out. Because, you know, especially with a kid who has suffered with depression and stuff like that, taking away their support system and their access to their support system, which it seems like he has had access to a support system 24/7, to take that away, it could backpedal healing process and stuff like that. To take away someone's support system, especially if, like, your support system is someone you see almost every single day, every single weekday, thanks to school, to take that away can really detriment someone's mental health. I know when I moved schools, that was a huge dent in my mentality, because I went from seeing my support system every single day, in the weekdays at least, right? Like, every single day except weekends, to literally never again. I think the only person in my support system that I've seen is my friend Damien, and then my friend Denise from my old support system. And I lost touch with a lot of my old support system and I had to create a whole new support system, which I understand now why that let an opening for people like certain exes of mine who were not good, and an abusive friend that I had at one point let in and become part of my support system and really dent it even more. You see, people become vulnerable to that stuff. I'm not saying that moving a child from school is extremely bad, but if that child is known to have mental issues, try to, like, not do that as often, right? Because that leaves them vulnerable. That leaves them having to either create a whole new support system or, you know, adjust to the fact that they can't see their support system 24/7, right? I think I saw my friend Denise literally a year ago, and that was like the first time we saw each other since we moved in middle school. We have both graduated high school. That is immense. That is like someone I went from seeing every single day for literal years, from kindergarten to elementary school, not elementary school, middle school, to once every 4 years. Yeah, that's a huge change. But that often that happens because of, you know, growing up, and that would have happened eventually because of, you know, graduating and stuff. But yeah, just changing someone's whole, like, especially if UA itself, right? Because Kirishima isn't just saying like, oh, my friends. It is UA as a whole becoming a hero as a whole, right? Which, by the sounds of it, his mother isn't going to let him go into another hero school. It's just going to be another different school. To take away their support friends, their support career, and their support school, that's three major supports to someone who's already has had depression, right? Who is diagnosed, I bet, and has had to go to therapy. I'm sorry, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for the kids' mental health to take a big dent. Right. You try not to change your kids' lifestyles and schools unless absolutely necessary, you know? And I get where the mother's coming from. I'm not saying like she's a horrible mother. I understand. It's hard to see your child do something so hard over and over and over, and knowing that, hey, this is a, what's it called? This is a career that can very much lead them to an early grave. And I understand where the mother's coming from. But like Aizawa said, you know, one decision, you know, it's only a possibility that, you know, she might lose Kirishima, while the other one is, hey, you will lose Kirishima. Whether it be you physically lose him, as in like, you know, he becomes so depressed that, you know, or, you know, he just stops talking to you because he will never forgive you. I mean, at one point he will forgive her down the road, right? Maybe not. But do you really want to risk that? And it's a tough decision for the mom, right? We're obviously biased because we want Kirishima to continue to be a hero, but I would understand if the mother went taking Kirishima away. I would understand. It is an understandable decision. Is it a good decision? Probably not, but it's an understandable one. It's one of those gray areas where, if we're being honest, the answer of whether her decision is a good one or a bad one changes depending on the person. Personally, I believe that there is no good or wrong. It's just a bunch of opinions. It's just a bunch of it's just a bunch of gray areas, right? There's one that would cause less harm, but mental harm, but maybe more physical harm. But one that will cause less physical harm, but more mental harm. You know, it's pick your poison, basically. It's literally just pick your poison. It's a double-edged sword. But yeah, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.